Hello, friends. Welcome to the Sacred Scoop. I'm Simi Pothen.
And I'm Dr. Carlos Garcia.
And this is our first episode together.
It is.
Carlos, I just want to say thank you for sharing this space with me. I am so honored. I'm so grateful that we get to create something like this together.
Definitely.
And just to give a background to those who are listening, how we met. We actually met recently. It was at a MACF. It was like a nonprofit organization where you came and spoke. What spoke to me the most was how you combined Eastern teachings and mindfulness to psychology or with psychology.
Yeah.
And I could hear that in the way you were delivering the message to everyone. So you're also one of those people, I feel like, even though we just met recently, I feel like I've known you for a long time. And I think there are souls like that, that we come across and immediately there's an instant connection, and then you just know you've met that person, or, you know, just sense the essence of that person somewhere before in your life, you know?
Yeah, likewise, my friend. Those soul contracts that we have, right? And I'm really excited that we get to share the space. I'm honored to share the space with you. And I think that we have some really great stuff for our viewers. We have some amazing topics that we're going to get into in our podcast to share. I think about, you know, just kind of the ways that we can weave in the practices of Eastern philosophy, of mindfulness, of meditation, of yoga, of the beautiful practices out there that help us get through this sticky life, right? The ups and downs of life. And in multiple conversations that you and I have had, even in the short time that we've known each other, I think we were sort of meant to do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's some of, you know, my friends know how I got into yoga, and not a lot of people do. The reason I got into yoga and Buddhist teachings, all of that, is because I went through a deep suffering, right? And I'm curious, since you come from the therapy world, what made you transition, or what made you want to learn about the Eastern philosophy, like Buddhist teachings?
Yeah, this is a story I don't really share or have shared in a lot of places, but my truth is that early on in my life, I was about 16 or 17, I started to struggle with bipolar disorder. And I get a little emotional talking about it. I had lived for so many years with a mind that just felt full of chaos, full of suffering, full of self-doubt, full of fear. And Buddhism sort of spoke to me in that here was this philosophy that helped you create a mind of more quiet. And that to me just resonated so deeply, because I was like, wait, that's a possibility to have inner peace, equanimity. So for me, it was suffering also. It was my mental health suffering very early on that I started, that's what got me to start gravitating towards meditation and mindfulness, and eventually to becoming a psychologist, because I went through a lot of my own therapy to overcome things like depression and anxiety, to work on myself. We'll get into some episodes, I'm sure, where I talk a little bit more about my upbringing and that how that impacted the stories and the things that happened for me and my psychology. So part of the path for me was my own seeking, and I hope that I can bring some of those teachings and some of that wisdom that I've sort of been able to develop throughout my own journey to our listeners. Yeah. What about for you?
For me, so being Indian, a lot of people think that you learn yoga as a child because yoga originated in India.
Right.
So there's
I
an
believed
assumption,
that too
right?
for a while. Yes,
right. That everyone knows yoga. If you're Indian, you know yoga.
Right.
The only yoga that I knew was just the asanas that everyone did in the West. because yoga was not talked about. So I grew up in India up until I was close to 13, and then I moved here.
Yeah.
But even those 13 years that I spent in India, no one talked about yoga. That was not even a conversation in our household.
Wow.
Initially, I thought maybe it was because I was in a Christian, I guess we were following Christian religion.
Yeah.
But now I realize, even when I talk to people who grew up in Hindu household or Sikh household, yoga is not something that gets talked about a lot. Not to say that people don't follow it,
Yeah.
but it's not something that, as a culture, people gravitate towards, because it's associated with someone just sitting still, leaving the world, moving up to the cave in the Himalayas, right? That was my understanding of
yoga.
Yeah. And then I moved to the US. My new understanding was the cool postures that you get to do, like the headstand, the handstand.
Yeah.
So I grew up not knowing anything about Buddhist teachings or yoga, and then I went through a divorce. As a mother, that was probably one of the most difficult things that I've had to experience, because it wasn't just the pain that I was going through.
Yeah.
It's also witnessing how my boys were also handling that transition.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and I walked into a doctor's office and they gave me a prescription. And I took that prescription with me, and I was working at the time at a medical device company. And I had a friend, a colleague that I was talking to about what was happening in my life and this prescription. And she told me, look, I used to take this, and I'll be honest with you, you kind of feel distant from life. You feel distant from the people that you love because you don't feel the emotions.
Right.
And while it can be a good thing, because if the emotions are so intense that you need to ease it a little bit, maybe that is a good thing to take. Yeah. But for me, I felt like, personally, okay, something created this, something caused this suffering.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand the root cause of it, right? So then I started going to the library, looking up books, and I started to read about meditation. And there was this article, I still don't know who wrote it, but whoever wrote it, thank you. It was an article that said meditation over medication. And I knew I was meant to pick up that book and read that article.
Beautiful.
And I started looking for a Buddhist center near my house, and I found one in Safety Harbor. I went on a Sunday where they have a talk and a few minutes of meditation. I attended that. I came out of the center feeling like a feather. Like there was this huge weight that that was always in my chest.
Yeah.
I felt like I was able to release.
Yeah.
And I felt so light. Not that anything got resolved, but I was able to experience that short moment, even though it may have only lasted a few hours, those few moments or few hours of peace and clarity.
Totally.
I was sold.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something here. And then I went consistently every week, sometimes even weeknights, and I started taking my boys with me every Sunday, and they had class for kids also at the time.
Beautiful.
Best thing that I think I did for myself and for them.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that speaks to a lot of the ways in which we find healing in our lives, right? Is going through those dark roads, going through those journeys. I've seen that not only in my own journey, but in those that I've counseled and consulted over the years. And so I think our hope for this podcast is that we get to share a little bit about our journey, about our lives, but also how can we bring the tools to our audience whether they're rooted in Western psychology and the mindset and how to better navigate emotions, but also some of these other amazing tools that come from Buddhism, that come from yoga. I'm hoping we could also, get our listeners dialed into, Reiki and acupuncture and so many of the beautiful tools that are out there to help us live lives that are more rooted in equanimity and contentment, and not this constant sort of suffering that a lot of us experience. So I think we have a big task ahead of us. I feel so grateful to be able to do this work with you. Yes. And I'm really excited about what we're about to get, what we're about to put out there.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same
yeah.
here.
Thank you, my
Thank you,
friend.
Carlos.
Yeah. So join us, stay with us. A lot of great content coming your way.
If this resonates with you, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.